What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
Today is episode 5.
Episode 5.
We just finished watching this, and I love this show.
What do you love about it?
I just think it's thrilling. I love the character development. I love learning and seeing people push through weakness and like better it. I love the intensity.
I love the cinematography is honestly beautiful. The setting is always insane, whether it be New Zealand or Morocco where we did it. I feel like the narrator's voice is epic. I feel like the way they try to paint picture people in a positive light is really unique.
I will say, to add to that, there were a lot of things that happened, small things, like things that could be very, very embarrassing to people because you're put in such vulnerable, raw positions and you're super afraid. And I've been really impressed to see that they haven't shown little things like that.
Yeah.
They've like kept it out on purpose for like integrity of the human being, which is really cool.
Most reality shows try to capitalize on anything that's dramatic or embarrassing or shameful because honestly those are interesting storylines, but what I appreciate about this show is the fact that they're like, no, let's actually dig into people's stories and try to show them in the best way we can.
Like, you think, how many of us had to take massive dumps in front of each other and we're wearing mics?
I don't think I've ever heard you
And how many people were changing naked and like you're just put in so many awkward positions that they truly could have exploited.
They did show you in your skimpies on this past episode. Do you see that?
I mean, it was like
split second
granny panties, so it was hardly skimpies. But
just saying. Let's do life updates real quick.
Life is moving fast right now.
We just got back from fall break. Do you want to debrief how we went to Orlando and all the things we did?
We went to Orlando. We did Disney World for 2 days. We went to an Orlando Pride soccer game.
So fun.
Women's soccer was incredible.
So fun.
We went to a really fun restaurant only for Bear because it's like his jam right now. He lives for bulldozers. It's like the first word he says when he wakes up and the last thing he says when he goes to bed. But there was a restaurant called Construction Zone. You wore hard hats. There was a bulldozer in the restaurant. I went there.
I went to a magic game, which was so much fun. We got to see some alligators in Gatorland, which is like a little animal, reservation. Came and there were snakes and
Jet got
lizards.
to hold an alligator.
He held an alligator.
Which is so on par for Jet.
Yeah.
Can I just say, mom hack, parent hack, if you're doing the Orlando thing, this is not an ad. I swear to gosh.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Evermore Resort. We had everyone tell us we needed to stay at like the Four Seasons down there or like a really nice restaurant or hotel. We ended up staying at the Evermore. It blew me away. I think it has to be one of the nicest resorts I've ever stayed at. Highly recommend.
Also,
great pricing.
Yeah, compared to Four Seasons, I don't know if it was just a time of year, but I'm not saying it's like cheap.
No.
But for the experience, we had a pool. It's like a house that you rent out. It's almost like an Airbnb, but they're all owned by the resort. There's a pool. There's like a large space for the kids to run around in. Our kids, they had like this little sand area under a hammock. They played in for hours.
You can still get room service and housekeeping and stuff. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was great. So thank you, Orlando. I think we have a couple of fun videos we'll share from our time there. I also wanted to share some comments from previous videos. We did the live stream. Everyone's really excited for us to publish our episode 4 recap because we are now a week behind, but I felt like it was important to do.
Yeah, we need to catch up. So we might have to release 2 in 1 week.
We'll see, maybe.
Because the finale can't come out and then our recap come out 2 weeks later.
You think we should catch up? Okay. Well, Sandy Ho Checker says, watching you two support each other was so heartwarming. When Shawn put her face to yours and you told her she was a beast, you could tell she was exhausted. That was at the end of episode 4. Shawn and I did have a little cuddle moment that they included. And then Hannah Benson said, I'm actually watching the show to see you guys on it. Going to be honest, didn't think it was going to be my cup of tea, but I am loving it. It's so fun to see you guys on the show. Honestly, there's a lot of people that have said that. And I hope we're not letting you down. So
I'm excited to see the character development for the rest of the time we're on the show, to see if it develops any more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun experience.
So let's dive into episode 5 recap, a little behind the scenes. Episode starts off with Ravi and Nick talking about how they're beat up. We meet in the parade square and they leave. Ravi and Nick leave. I feel like there were some missing details that maybe, honestly, I heard Rudy yell in a way that I've not heard anybody yell ever in my life.
Ever.
And they did not include that. And
No.
that was a result of a couple things. We don't need to like dive into the full situation, but Ravi and Nick did leave early that morning, first thing.
Something that they value on the show, and something that the DS tried to like really instill in all of us from day one, is they were not there for a TV show. They were there to put on this course and this challenge. In exchange for us doing the course, what they demanded of us was respect of the course, respect of them, and respect of their careers that we are trying to simulate for a short amount of time. And some of the characters who had a harder time really buying into that seriousness got reprimanded for it in a way that I had never heard before, only because it came out of please do not disrespect everything that we are creating here in showcasing and trying to like teach you, because it actually stems from something very real for us.
I've never heard anybody yell like that in my life. That was insane. You could even tell, like, I guess knowing Rudy, what his kind of baseline equilibrium is. And in the show, they showed clips of him and he was like fired up. You could tell just by how he was looking.
At the very beginning, when Nick and Ravi leave, you can see on Rudy's face, it's just a different demeanor.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I do feel like this was a pivotal point in the show as far as Nick and Ravi provided a lot of comedic relief.
Yeah.
And their exit sparked like a more somber tone.
Yeah.
Both how their exit went down and then also obviously having them leave was big. I also do want to say one more life update, which was last night, Shawn and I actually had the opportunity to host an event for the Special Forces Charitable Trust, who we've worked with for years.
Mm-hmm. The Green Berets.
It's a nonprofit that supports the families of Special Forces, because if you look at the stats on like mental health, suicide rate, all these things.
22
people a day.
People in the military commit suicide a day.
Yeah. And, you know, we do a lot of work with families with the videos that we make. And so we felt like this was a really important thing that we could involve with. And Shawn's actually been working with this organization in one form or another for like, 15, 20?
17 years.
17 years?
Since I was 15.
And we got to host an event here in Nashville where we got to meet some Green Berets. And then it was really fun to talk to them about, you know, they're all excited about the show. They all watch the show. And
which is comical.
Hilarious.
They even like brought it up while we were there. And I was like, this is a laughable thing as far as like, all of you in this room are heroes.
Yeah.
Heroes. The most humble, amazing heroes we've ever met. And all they wanted to talk about was the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to go play. But they were like all bought in on it.
For a short amount of time.
They were like, I want to do some of those challenges.
Yeah, it was so ironic. And they're like, oh, it's Special Forces World's Toughest Test. You're like, no, stop. You guys sacrifice so much more. And I feel like if there's one thing that I would like to come as a result of us being on the show is maybe bringing more appreciation to these guys.
Yeah. Because,
I don't know, we get to make podcasts about this and be on a TV show and do all these like media tours about it, which we just published on the main channel, our little media tour behind the scenes, which was fun. But I hope that people have a greater appreciation for what the Special Forces actually go through as a result of us talking about our experience of doing the hard things of pretending to do this. But anyway, Ravi and Nick, it was fascinating. They, it is kind of a choice. It's not like you're pretending to be on. It's all so real, but there is a decision you need to make of, am I going to fully walk into this experience and like buy into listening to the DS and doing as I'm told and taking this seriously, or am I going to joke around and try to be am
I going to see it as a TV show? You can either walk into it and say, I'm here to play a TV show game.
Yeah.
Or you can walk into it and say, I am going to immerse myself in a special forces experience to live the life of a special forces operator for a short amount of time that just so happens to be filmed. And I think they played that line of like, we're here to have fun, and this is no longer kind of fun, so I'm done.
But I'm not even saying one's better or worse, because having Ravi and Nick there was a highlight. You know, they were so much fun. It was a treat to get to know them. It just started to create some friction, which was interesting. So they left. Again, super somber at this point. And you could tell by the faces. They show some of us on the parade square, and you're like, oh, dang, we're all...
we had just experienced the wrath.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You ever open the fridge up at 5 p.m. hoping something magically appears for kids' dinner? And it's just staring back at you like, good luck, Mom.
Meanwhile, the kids are behind you asking, what are we having? When is it ready? Why isn't it ready?
That's our house. Every night right now, between school, activities, and 3 tiny humans who change their favorite foods daily, feeding kids feels impossible.
It's like running a restaurant with the pickiest customers in America.
Which is why we have started using Nurture Life. This podcast is sponsored by Nurture Life, but it's a meal delivery service that makes nutritious meals and snacks actually made for kids.
Their whole menu is designed specifically for kids ages 10 months to 10 years. Everything is fresh, fully cooked, and ready in 1 minute.
And it tastes like the foods kids already love. Mac and cheese, spaghetti and meatballs, but with the balanced nutrition that makes us feel like we're doing something right.
They're the top meal delivery service for babies and kids, and they're allergy friendly too.
For our family, Drew is obsessed with the spaghetti and meatballs. Jet basically thinks the chicken bites were made for him. And the after-school hunger meltdowns, Nurture Life completely solved it.
You choose from 50 plus meals and snacks across baby, toddler, and kid options. Nurture Life cooks, ships it fresh, not frozen, and that's it.
Everything's dietitian designed, and I constantly steal bites.
Honestly, more than just bites, but yes. So head to nurturelife.com/EastFam and use code EastFam for 55% off your first order plus free shipping.
That's 55% off plus free shipping. Once again, that's nurturelife.com/EastFam, and make sure you use our promo code EastFam.
Even if you aren't a parent with young kids, share this with a friend. Put your little ones first with healthy meals from Nurture Life. I want to pull up my live schedule of when I journaled the events as they went down and compare that to how the show displayed it, because
I can't remember correctly if they swapped it.
I believe we went to the water first,
but I can't remember.
So let's see. Yeah, 7 a.m. we woke up. Ravi and Nick left. This is on day 5. 8 to 2 that day we did the backwards trust fall.
So we did the water first,
and that was a long drive. It's like an hour and a half drive each way. I think in that car ride, Cody and I had some really fascinating theological discussions. I'm like, how do you end up in a place where your religion informs and endorses multiple wives?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was actually a delightful insight into, wow, that's fascinating.
You're really, really good at being curious with people, even despite having, differing beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think Cody felt very disarmed around you in the sense of he was able to share a lot. But yeah, it was very fascinating.
So I'll walk through the real life schedule and then we'll walk through the episode. 8 to 2 was a backward trust fall. 2 to 4 was a clean up the courtyard and the candy fiasco, which we will talk about. Bro. Oh my gosh. And then 4:30 to 6:45 was a truck kit carry relay challenge. That was a short drive.
That sucked.
And then 10 p.m. I had written down that we did the candy penalty bee sting in the cage.
Okay. So they did that pretty much backwards during the episode.
In the episode it goes Ravi and Nick. We did Who Do You Not Trust?
Oh yeah.
Which was honestly
awful.
One of my least favorite things to do on the show. Day 2, we did this big group share. You hear about people's stories, and you really open up, and you're like, I want to have your back. Yeah, we're all a team. And then they put you in this situation where you're choosing who do you want to leave behind. The whole like backstory was, all right, you have a team of 6. You're going out and there's one person you need to leave behind because you have 7 of you here in this room. And who are you leaving behind?
They argued, they said, we have to do this every single day based off of the real life scenario.
Yeah, you can only fit so many people in a helicopter.
Who's the best one to leave off for this particular, thing we have to go do?
It just felt a little maniacal and manipulative to like have us do this bonding stuff. And then now you got to freaking axe somebody.
But this is also the very first day, I would say, where up until this point on the show or the course, everything that you've watched and everything that we experienced was very physical. There was a lot of mental strength that went into those physical challenges because you were facing fears. But this is the first day they started introducing psychological.
Yeah.
I don't want to say warfare, but like a psychological side of it where you're like, okay, I got to put all emotion, all offensiveness aside, insecurities. Like it's no longer about fear. It's like how I can actually do my job with all of this going on. And this is where it starts to get a little weird.
Dicey. Yeah, it gets fascinating. So I think they displayed that whole thing rather accurately. Just to fill in a little more, really there was 2 main numbers called 8 and 19, which were Chanel and Gia.
Was it 19 or 13? I don't remember.
But
Gia.
I feel like it's important to mention that Gia was not too far voted second.
Yeah.
Like it was a close second. And that's important to keep in mind for later.
Just important to keep in mind.
So you got Chanel and Gia. It was so brutal. They call you up there and you're standing facing everybody. And it's like, all right, who do you not want on your team? I tried to...
Andrew did a Shawn thing
I tried to shimmy it a little
yelled at for it. What you don't see, Andrew gets called up probably close to last.
Yeah.
They're like, who would you choose? And he calls himself.
I said 11, which is my number. And Billy's like, all right, 11. And then he's like, wait a minute, you're 11. Nice try, cheeky.
And then they got a little mad. They were like, no effing around. Like, answer
choose
the
somebody,
question.
Yeah. So then they forced, because I really didn't want to isolate anybody or make anyone feel lonely because we had just gone through this whole bonding experience of hearing people's
And
backstory.
it was also so dumb because like you were obviously like the strongest there. One of the top strongest. Yeah. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever.
So anyway, they forced us to each choose somebody and then we all load up in the car and it was like, sucked.
Yeah.
We all obviously did not feel great about that situation. In real life, we went to the backwards trust fall, but in the show, it talks about the kick carry. One thing that I think was amplified, I don't think it was like a stretch from the truth, but the leadership aspect of the kick carry, like driving the truck through the vehicle, was not as explicit as some other times where they had like leadership opportunities, which was kind of interesting to see how they brought that more to the surface.
But you still had like someone who was there to like be a team morale.
Yeah, there were a lot of logistics because there's like, I don't know, it's close to 20 of these little boxes that you had to carry. And so someone kind of had to say, all right, well, you had to organize it pretty much.
Let's start with that challenge. And
yeah,
we've kind of gone through it and we'll jump out of order here, but we'll go in the form of the episode. So the first challenge they show after we have to select the weakest link, we go to this kick carry. You have to jump in a car with a team. There were teams of 3 except for Randall and Eric's team.
Which is crazy because this was brutal.
Yeah, you drive through the city, you stop, an explosion happens, and then they just point at this like big pile of like steel boxes filled with stuff. And they're like, you have to count it, you have to carry it, you have to get it all in the back of the truck. And that's all they're telling us. So we run, we start loading them up. These suckers are heavy.
I do think it's worth talking about what we thought this challenge would be. By the way, I was hyped. Shawn and I were not on a team often, but for this challenge, it was Shawn, Christy, Rampone, and
Great team.
And I was like, whatever comes our way, we're going to dominate.
We're all locked in.
In previous seasons, I think in every previous season, there has been some challenge where you get in a car and then you have to drive through a village and there's explosions and you have to identify like where was a hostile or whatever. And so we thought we were going to like drive a car through the village for 10 minutes each. No. We're like, oh, that's interesting that we're doing it as a team, but I'm sure it'll still be this thing.
We had no idea it was an endurance strength challenge.
Right. So we were the second group to go, and the show, it had us being the first group to go. Yeah. But we're standing, just to paint the picture of the context, Morocco, it's like desert, and we're standing in the desert, and then like there's a far off village maybe 2 miles away. And so the first team goes, and you have no idea what they're doing, but you see the trucks pull in, and you're like, all right, we waited there for a while. It was like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long challenge.
And then they come back and get us. We go in the car. We're like, all right, sick. We're going to, like, everyone keep an eye out. You see, I think Chanel saying, I don't see anything out my window. We were all thinking we had to identify a hostile. And then we drove, I don't know, it was not that long, into this village. They stopped the car because of this explosion. And they're like, you got to get out. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're getting into. And so, again, you go from being, like, static and sitting for a long period of time to full-on sprint.
Yeah.
You have no idea how long you're going to do it. It was roughly 45 minutes, but between the setup, like at this point we understood the challenge might be 10 minutes and it takes 30 minutes for them to like set up the boxes or whatever the challenge is again. So I don't know if I'm getting into a 5-minute workout or a 45-minute workout.
So then they're yelling at us to get out of the car. They're showing us this kit that we have to pick up and put in the back of the truck. Now my mind, and probably everyone's mind, is going to load the kit up, drive somewhere. Yeah. Again, driving challenge.
Yeah.
Unload the kit. No.
Oh.
So we load the kit up. What they didn't show in detail was there were probably 20 boxes in the kit.
Yeah.
And you had your Bergens as well. So it's like 20 boxes, this big net, and then your Bergens. You had to load every single one up, keep count because you had to keep track. And then we got back in the car. Now they're saying drive again.
We drive 20 yards.
Not even. And they say, stop.
Big explosion. Your truck's done.
Now they're like, now you got to carry your kit to the exfil location. So
again, we just physically blew our wad by like hustling all these kits to load them in the truck. We thought we were going to be sitting down again, driving for a while. And they're like, you have to unload it.
So now it's unload and carry to the next DS. So you're thinking, okay, I got to carry this to the DS. This is like where we're going. So one by one, maybe by two, I would say the lightest box weighed, there might have been one that weighed like 20 pounds, but I'd say the lightest usually was probably like 40, 50 pounds.
And then the heaviest was like
over
100 pounds. Yeah. No doubt. And I'm not going to lie, I dominated this challenge.
You did. You were like doing two.
At one point I carried 4.
Because I remember like decent, not to toot my own horn, I'm decently strong. Like for my size, I'm decently strong.
You're an animal.
But picking up more than one was like not feasible.
Because, okay, so think about, it's not even the weight, it's the way, they were like,
they were awkward.
5-6 feet long, and then it's like harsh edges, so just the way your wrists were, like, and the handles aren't big, so it was super clunky, and you're like walking.
But even picking up a small one for me, I was like picking up probably 60 pounds and trying to waddle it with my Bergen on to the next place. So now, by now you're carrying 100 pounds.
Because you have your 30, 40 pound bag and this kit. Yeah, it was...
So 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, we get to DS, we like drop the boxes and they're like sprint back, get the rest. And so we're doing, it probably took us 6 back and forth
relays
to get all the kit to the DS.
And you're probably walking 150 yards.
It was, probably 150 yards. Yeah.
A football field and a half.
Yeah.
Feels about right. Yeah.
So then we get to the DS. All of our stuff by now, after 6 trips, is like to the first DS. And you know what they say? Pick it all back up, take it to the next DS. And by now, my mind was, it was going one of two ways. It was like, what the are we about to do? Or just grind.
So we loaded up in the truck, we unloaded it, and then we had to move it. And then after that, I guess it would be the 3rd time that we had to move it. I did have like a panic moment. Of like, oh, frick, when is this going to end? because you keep thinking this is a finish line. We just got to push hard.
And they didn't show
move
this.
it out. No.
Yeah.
No, it looked like it was just one stretch.
We probably took it close to a mile.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Probably a mile. So we ended up having to do the 6 back and forths.
Per move.
At least 5 times to make it to the final place where you're like dropping all the boxes.
So we had to pick, just to clarify, pick up and move these 20 boxes, which
from
weighed
A to B.
About 6 times.
Okay.
5. Sorry, it was actually 5 times, I think, is what we just agreed
This is making
on.
sense. So like from A to B, we had to go back and forth 6 times to get all the boxes there.
And then B to C.
Yep. 6 times. And then C to D, D to E, E to F, F to G.
And then they had this drop zone, and you're like walking up this hill. Again, it's uneven footing. There's just, like the Saharan desert is just rocks, and it's 120 degrees out. So you see us sweating. There's not a lot of opportunity to grab a water except like in that short relay.
Something we haven't talked about. I don't know why I just remember this, but I remembered it from this one. It started on day 1. Something that was like all around. Do you remember those bushes?
Oh, with the freaking thorns.
So there were these bushes everywhere. It looked like a really dried out bush of branches almost, but there were these white tiny thorns and they were everywhere. And so you're trying to carry all these boxes, you're tripping and falling. The amount of bushes I fell into, and you would get them stuck.
Yeah.
I remember I had like 50 stuck in my hands that they're so thin that you can't get them out, and it would cause all these like blisters. Oh my gosh.
So speaking of hands, keep in mind we had just done the casualty carry 2 days before, so our hands are still beat up. You see everyone has like tape on their fingers because we all have blisters, thorns.
Your feet are annihilated because the heat, and we're walking, running so many places. People had blisters everywhere.
Yeah, so it's just like a blend of a really interesting context.
It's November, which basically means 2 things in our house: cold and flu season, and mountains of leftover Halloween candy.
No joke. Still piles of it. And you know what that leads to? Tummy aches, tears, and a whole lot of trips to the bathroom.
It's honestly so hard this time of year to get our kids to eat anything that resembles healthy food. You're choosing between not healthy at all or way too much sugar.
But that's why we've been loving Beam Kids. If you listen to the show, you already know our kids call it their daily chocolate milk.
Meanwhile, for us, it's 1 scoop packed with 40 plus essential ingredients: greens, probiotics, prebiotics, fruits, vitamins, everything they need to help with their digestion, immunity, and even focus.
And let me tell you, Beam Kids was a total game changer for bathroom time. I'm talking real poops, consistent poops, which every parent knows that's the dream. Plus, it's pediatrician formulated and, yes, co-created by an Olympic gold medalist mom who I happen to know pretty well.
And now is the best time to try it because Beam's cyber sale is live. Our listeners can get up to 56% off when you go to shopbeam.com/couplethings and use code couplethings at checkout.
That breaks down to less than $1 a day to check off your kids' nutrition. Seriously, mix 1 scoop with 8 ounces of milk, shake or froth it, and boom, you're done. Breakfast, lunch, snack, it fits anywhere.
You can grab Beam Kids for as low as $23.75 per bag, but only until it sells out.
So if you've been waiting for the sign to finally try Beam Kids, this is it.
Go to shopbeam.com/couplethings and try Beam Kids today.
And another thing is, the kit was like fragile gear. So you had to strategically place it, is what they were telling us, and like stack it and be fragile. You couldn't just like throw these metal boxes.
Because it was supposed to be like ammunition and like,
Anyway, our team crushed, to be honest.
It crushed.
We got to the drop zone. I guess we were 12 minutes ahead is what they said.
At least, yeah. It was a long time.
And the other team was kind of just a mess. It was like they were throwing the kit. Everyone was tired. It was a brutal physical challenge.
At the end of theirs, it looked like a yard sale. It was pretty brutal.
Flipped upside down.
But I will say something that they didn't show. Again, everything is about like being meticulous and diligent and like listening and following the rules and whatever. As we're standing there trying to catch our breath, all 3 of us, you, me, and Christy, are like on the verge of throwing up, so tired, drinking water. You say something about our Bergens, but you refer to them as bags.
Frick. I did that multiple times.
Yes. And DSQ, don't know why, lost his ish at the fact that Andrew called them bags. So as we're waiting for this team to finish, he makes us get into a plank position and do push-ups and hold this plank for probably 5 minutes.
On rocks.
Yeah. So me and Christy are just holding a plank and doing push-ups at an incline because our feet had to be on the boxes for probably 5 minutes.
And also, there was no water on this one. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So mouth is just parched. I also forgot in episode 4, I had to do 50 push-ups because Rudy.
You went pee by yourself, which, Andrew, they talked to us
I did
so many
That's
times.
What it was, which was fascinating. So a peek behind the curtain. We're doing the dam rappel, if you remember from episode 4. Yeah. And you're standing out there for hours. So like people would just go pee at this one spot. Again,
people wouldn't just go pee by themselves.
I said people would pee at this one spot. The rules were you could never be by yourself. And I did that. But I went like 10 yards. I was like, I don't need anybody.
Matter.
I just was, okay, it was a dumb move. And then Rudy yells at me. He's like, you can't be by yourself. Broke the rules. So he says, drop and give me 50.
50 push-ups.
50 push-ups. By the way, I was toasted after those 50 because my body was so depleted. And then it was fascinating. I think the DS wanted in a certain capacity to push us harder, like even have more opportunities to like penalize people.
Yes.
But because of the heat and the extreme conditions,
they had to like rein it back.
Like the producers stepped in and were like, you can't do this. They're already getting taxed too much. And you're like, frick, thank good.
There were doctors watching the whole time. Yeah. They weren't intervening ever. But the doctors would like at some point whisper to the producers, like, it's getting, we're getting to a level where like,
it's dangerous.
They could die.
We've already had several medical withdrawals, but I still had to do my 50 push-ups. I think they just took that for future now.
Okay, so we finish this carry. One by one, all the teams go by. We do the punishment 5-minute plank and push-ups because of you saying bags. We get back in the cars.
The whole challenge, by the way, too, was like you have to move. You're in the hostile village. They find you out, and so you have to get out of the village and not leave a trace.
Yeah,
and then a helicopter's gonna come pick you up. So like the organization, the boxes, and that little net that you'll see in the episode is like supposed to hide the kit from people being able to see it. So obviously, so that it buys you time for a helicopter to come pick you up. Anyway, just kind of an interesting side note.
So we get back in the cars. We go back. We have lunch.
Yeah.
And this is where the candy thing happens. So we're having
lunch. The freaking candy thing. I cannot believe we got rope-a-doped in the most classic way.
We have to be careful here. Because, like, we ate the candy. So, long story short, Chanel goes for her interview. She comes back. Randall goes for his interview. He comes back. We've eaten lunch. We're waiting around. And all of a sudden, Randall brings us this box.
We're sitting there chit-chatting, like drying our gear.
What we didn't realize, but we kind of figured out later and now got confirmation of from the show, is that there was a legit conversation that happened between Chanel, Gia, and Randall of like, should we do this? And Chanel so clearly is like, we should not touch this.
So it's the three of them in this mess hall, and it's like us in the courtyard totally doing a different thing. We're like moving, we're like raking rocks, totally, or we were cleaning bathrooms, totally separate vibe.
Yeah. So then Randall brings the box out. They somehow decide, as the three of them, that like it's a good idea. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but I'm like, yeah, they decide it's a good idea. They bring it out and they just like tell us this is for us.
The behind the scenes was this. One, Nick had left that morning, and every day he was on the show, he was talking about, man, all I want is a Coca-Cola. Yeah. All I want is a Coke. Give me a Coke. So Nick leaves. Like I said, the tone was super somber. Everyone like shifted. And the other part of the backstory is they had this conversation in the mess hall. Enter our point in this story where the box comes out. People are like, oh, yo, we got candy.
Yeah.
And we got a Coke.
Coca-Cola.
And we were dying laughing. I wish they showed this part.
We thought
at one point,
like...
all of us took a group picture at one of the like security cameras that was there. And we were like, hey, Nick, everybody say cheese. We're all huddled up around this Coca-Cola. It's like, Nick, we finally got the Coke the day you left. We thought it was like a DS saying, keep going, you got this.
Yeah.
Like a gift from them saying, pick up the morale.
Which, and looking back, is like so stupid.
So dumb.
They would never have done that.
So dumb. Like we took the bait.
So,
and oh, it's so hilarious.
We ate it all, but fast forward later on when they bring us out in the middle of the night to do our beasting for it. The thing that got me was they singled all of us out and they said, did anybody like have an inkling or know about this? Now, rewind to the footage where you saw Chanel say, I don't think we should do this. I think it's a bad idea. She never said that to us. She never came out and said, I don't think this is a good idea.
It does show her saying, no, I don't want candy on the show.
But remember, she's like, I don't eat candy.
Yeah.
Because I remember asking her, whatever. I was just like, you should have spoke up. I was frustrated.
But that's part of her story, how she felt like she never
I know.
had the opportunity. So, honestly, we all got hilarious giggles. And the candy, honestly, in some ways it was worth it because here we are 5 days of eating the blandest food you could imagine. And there was Twix in there, Snickers. They had some local candy. They had like a Coke that we all shared. We didn't eat it all, though. We each had like 3 bites of these candies. And we were like, oh, you know how your body doesn't respond well if you've been eating a certain way and then you inject all these flavors.
So dumb. We were so dumb.
So dumb. So dumb.
We all knew too. You could you knew it. You're like, this is too good to be true, I'm sure.
So then, we also were tasked with cleaning up the courtyard. So like,
we had to rake rocks, which is a joke because the whole courtyard was nothing but rocks.
They just said clean up the courtyard. So you don't know what their expectations are. We're picking up any rock bigger than this. Okay, fine. That sounds good. We were like, carving. We made a little path around the bee sting area that you could follow. We were like polishing off the metal, picking up any,
Do you know how hard it is to rake rocks? It doesn't work.
It all felt extremely pointless. And we were like, I think we all kind of knew that, but we were like, we better do it.
And then we didn't know how long to do it for.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We didn't know. We kept going.
We're like, okay.
Oh.
Okay, so fast forward now, after all of this has happened, we get back in the cars and we go to the trust fall, whatever.
Again, reversed in the show.
Yeah.
But
we get paired up. I'm with Decker. You're with Randall. My little side of it was Decker and I were the athlete mindset. It was easy to just have like a system and follow it. We're very like robotic.
But you found this very difficult.
I found it so difficult. My entire nature, my entire background in gymnastics and flipping is like I can be in very precarious situations upside down and know how to save myself and land on my feet. For them to say, trust fall, like let gravity do its thing and let rotation do its thing and just land where you land and don't break form is like counterintuitive to every single thing I've done my whole life. So I was like, you want me to flip off of a 5-story building? Great. I will do that and I will land in the water on my feet.
Moving backwards in any capacity is counterintuitive to anything I've done my whole life.
Well, it's scary, but like that whole thing, I would be like, no, don't do it like this. Like look for the water and tuck your feet in. Save yourself so you don't face plant. Because you know what happened, Andrew?
You face planted.
I broke my freaking face.
Yeah, the reason Shawn feels this way is because if you don't do it like she had been trained to, you can get injured.
And do it the way that I did, which is the way they told you to do, which is don't break form. And you know what? Physics didn't work in my favor.
I think you could see that night when we got in the parade square for the bee sting, Shawn's face is still red.
And it's swollen. It's like
her like lips are purple.
Drooping and like kind of like this. I have never felt that kind of pain. We trust fell and Eric and I, and we did a good job. But like I didn't break form because you weren't supposed to. So you know what hit first? My face from 3 stories up.
I didn't realize how flush you hit that with your face.
And all I remember is it took so much air away from me. Like I could not breathe. It hurt. I thought I literally shattered every bone in my face. That's how bad it hurt. And I came out of the water and I couldn't catch my breath. And I hear Rudy screaming, 10, you good? 10, you good? And I'm like, like I couldn't catch a breath. And I evidently was underwater for a split second too long. It made Eric nervous. I don't know. So he grabs my life jacket and he starts swimming because I still can't like catch my breath because it hurt so bad. And I was able to keep my composure. So we got up to Rudy. Rudy's like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." Then we go to the guy who helps you take your kit off, your harness off and stuff. And he was kind of my buddy on the show. He's the only one who would be like,
yeah, give subtle hints, eye contact.
And I remember he looked at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And my eyes welled up because it was it's the first comfort you feel,
Yeah.
And my eyes welled up so bad, and I was so close to going completely off an edge and just bawling because it hurt, babe, so bad.
We spent some time with Nick Vial yesterday. I think we'll be on his show, and maybe we'll have him on our show. Nick had done this show in a previous season, and he was talking about at the end of it, all he wanted was a hug because you get yelled at and reprimanded and just mother effed the whole time. And you're like, I just want someone to be there for me and comfort me. I think that's kind of what you're.
It was this same guy in a future challenge you'll see when we were jumping off the little cliffs into the water. Being so short, I was free falling. And so he would kind of peek around and then he'd just take my backpack and grab me and put me down. And I'm like, "Thank you."
Dude, this was honestly, the water was so nice because it's extremely hot outside and just to swim. I mean, I was chilling. As soon as I hit the water, I was enjoying every stroke I had in my 10-yard swim back to shore. But Randall and I got to do it, and we were pretty dialed in, honestly.
Yeah.
It was sweet because we just came up with the system, executed like you said, right foot back, left foot back, cross your arms, go.
Very athlete mindset, though. It's very you could kind of tell, especially in this one, the difference between former athletes and not, because not former athletes were trying to talk through, do you feel good? How do you do that? Whereas you saw all the athletes put a system to it.
Yeah.
1, 2, yeah.
A couple things just to try to put you there in the situation as much as possible. One, the platform was this metal grate held up by just 2 cords. And so it shook a lot, and it was windy that day.
It was so windy.
And keep in mind, you have to hang your heels off the platform for a certain amount of time. And so you're kind of balancing on the shaky platform and you're falling backwards, which to me was insane.
And you're not jumping. They said literally just let momentum or let gravity fall. So you're not pushing off.
In previous seasons, I think Savannah Chrisley and a couple people tapped out on this challenge because it is a thrill is one way to describe it. I would probably do it again now that I understand the sensation of it, but it was very nerve-wracking in the moment. So Randall and I guess maybe I miss some of the behind the scenes in real life, but I feel like Randall and I actually executed it really well. And I don't remember, I know we failed still because I think I split my legs and maybe we were slightly off rotation in sync with each other. But
I just remember being so proud of you for doing it because having tried to teach you how to flip, you don't like going backwards.
I don't know how to flip, period. I'm the worst flipper you've
ever
seen.
It's not true. We got your front flips dialed in.
I don't ever want to do another front flip in my life. I'm done.
So I am officially that mom who has turned into a clean ingredient detective. Once we had the kids, I really started paying attention to what's actually in our products we use around our home. And honestly, it was shocking. I didn't realize how many conventional cleaners have fragrances and chemicals that can mess with your skin, your hormones, your air quality.
Yeah, she did a whole purge. Our under sink cabinet looks like a before and after commercial right now.
Because Branch Basics changed everything for us. When their starter kit showed up, I immediately loved how simple it was. One concentrate that works for literally everything. Kitchen counters, the bathroom, laundry, even washing produce, and makeup brushes. I was surprised at how effective it was, especially being plant and mineral based.
I love how you can use it for so many different things. And it actually works. I use the all-purpose on pretty much every mess our kids make, which is a lot of messes.
And as a mom, it gives me so much peace of mind. I'm not spraying harsh chemicals all over the house anymore where the kids eat, play, and crawl around. And because it's a refill system, each bottle ends up costing just a couple of bucks, which is way cheaper than the stuff we used to buy.
So if you're thinking about healthier swaps for your home or gifts for other parents, this one's huge.
Get yourself and your loved ones the best gift of all, the gift of clean with Branch Basics. For a limited time only, our listeners get 15% off plus free shipping on their premium starter pack when you use code EastFam at branchbasics.com/EastFam.
That's 15% off your order at branchbasics.com/EastFam with promo code EastFam. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Get Branch Basics this holiday season because cleanliness matters.
One more time, go to branchbasics.com/EastFam and use code EastFam for 15% off plus free shipping.
That was fascinating. And then that night was
the beasting.
Which the water in that tub was cold
degrading.
This time. We'd been in the tub 1 or 2 times before. And like if it was daytime, the water felt perfect because it had been heating all day. If it was nighttime,
it was chilly.
It was a little chilly. And you're standing there. And I think they had to do some physical stuff too that they didn't show. Anyway, we got reprimanded for the whole candy thing, which we all kind of knew was coming. But then they had this cage that all of a sudden appeared that morning. Or no, it was after we got back. Like during the lunchtime, they had this cage. And you're like, oh no, what is this for?
Yeah.
And they ended up having, I feel like that, I don't remember that part panning out like the show displayed it, whereas like raise your hand if you think you should be in the cage. That's how the show showed it.
Yeah, I kind of remember it that way because they were like, that was when they were asking over and over and over, did anybody have any inkling or like, no.
But why did Bree, Gia, and Randall then ended up in the cage?
Bree had to go in first because they brought Chanel out and said, now it's your turn to choose a person.
She elected
Who
somebody.
do you want to go in the cage?
Gotcha.
Which is also savage.
Yeah.
So then Chanel chooses Bree. Bree goes in the cage. And then that's when they're like, does anybody else feel like they should go in the cage? Did you know about it? That's when Randall and Gia went.
Yeah. And then they had us, again, this is another thing where you're like, I don't want to freaking do this. Why are you having me do this mean thing to this person that I'm not bonded with? But outside the cage was like this 55-gallon drum of disgusting water. There was like toilet paper.
It wasn't
stuff.
actually toilet water, but
it was
they made
gross.
It look like it. Yeah.
And whatever that was in there, it doesn't matter. It's like gross water. So they were like, you gotta take a bucket and toss it on them. And we did laps of doing that. And then they had to sat in the cage for a long time.
Mm-hmm. They probably came in a half hour to an hour later.
And they didn't show that. They just sat there.
Again, this is where mind games start being played in crazy ways. Because they're also testing, like, can we all go through this, the people in the cage and not, and like bounce back from it? Can we forgive each other? Can we, like, it gets wild.
The relational dynamics start coming to a head. I will say the slow-mo on the backflip was so sick.
Yeah.
And the whole setting just looks so cool.
Setting you guys up for next week.
Should be a good one.
I think it might be my favorite episode. We'll see how it's like edited. But we do 2 things. We do Postman's Walk, which is like this walk across they string a wire across 2 mountaintops pretty much. We also have to do one of the worst bee stings from the whole season right after that.
This was a big day.
Huge.
Because we did a huge hike going into the Postman's Walk. Did the Postman's Walk.
It wasn't a hike. Remember the run?
Yeah.
The like 3-mile run?
Yes.
Bro, this is where they tried to weed out the most people and they succeeded.
So run, Postman's Walk, bee sting, and then
Murder ball.
So they showed some teaser highlights at the end.
I think 5 people got hurt. Get ready.
Yeah, it gets wild. So anyway, hope that answered some of your behind the scenes questions. We might have been the most close to the chest in sharing all the nitty gritty details for this episode, just because I don't know, there's some things not worth sharing, and we want to protect and respect.
Other people can share it if they'd like.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so we'll try to move past that and just share all the goodies
Get ready
next
for
time.
Next week, guys.
But yeah. Thanks for watching. Glad you all are enjoying these episodes.
Yeah.
Please keep commenting and liking the video. And if you want to hear more from Shawn and I, go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. But that's all until next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Shawn.
Sorry, we should be saying I'm number 11.
I'm number 10.
Out.